Task number 4 of our Observing Mechanisms project is to actually build the mechanisms. You're going to use the Vex Robotics parts. You're going to use trial and error. You're going to look at some pictures to try to figure out how to actually build and create each mechanism. And then once you do that, you're going to include an image of what you built in your design notebook and then answer some questions as you explore kind of how these mechanisms work. And as you're doing this, we want to answer the question, how do gears change speed? So you're going to build some different gears. How does that actually change the speed of something by using different gears? All right. This is not a task that you are going to finish in one class period. So this task will take multiple class periods, but make sure that you are working so that you can get as many of these mechanisms built as possible. So at this point, let's pause the video and open up your design notebook. Now that we have our design notebook open, you can see task number 4. We can click on the bookmark in this project plan, and that will take us right down to the start of task number 4. Our essential question, how do gears change speed at some point? You can answer that question now, you could answer that question while you're working on this task, or you can come back to it after you've completed task number 4 and answer it then. But blue background means that it is a must answer question. So you're going to be creating your solutions and then evaluating them, testing them out. How do they work? So you're going to use the pictures that are given to build the following gears and mechanisms. And you can see all these different gears and mechanisms that you're going to build. A simple gear train, a gear train with an idler, a chain drive, bevel gear, cam and follower, worm and wheel, lead screw, rack and pinion, and crank and slider. Those are the different gears and mechanisms that you're going to create. Then you are going to explore the mechanisms. You're just going to mess around with them and then answer the questions in each chart. So we start off with the base. And so we have two pictures, one here on the left and one here on the right, that kind of show you how the base is supposed to look. And this is where you're going to, once you create this, you're going to then build most of your gears and mechanisms on this kind of setup. Once you build that, we want to take a picture of it. So insert an image of what you built over here. It's again documenting what you've done. Okay, then we get to this simple gear train. And so there's two different gear trains you can see. So gear train A, you can see both of these gears are the same exact size. There's just two different images kind of showing you what it looks like, and so your job then is to try to be creative and see, okay, based on these pictures, how can I put this together? What parts do I need to make this work and function? Then we have gear train B, and notice the slight change. Rather than having gears that are the same exact size, we've got one that's bigger and one that's smaller. And so once you build one of these, you don't need to take the whole thing apart. All you need to do is just replace one of these gears with a smaller gear, and then you can go on and answer your questions down here. So once you've built these gear trains, insert images of these gear trains over here in the right side. Must do. Then there are questions for you to answer. So for instance, the first one, which is the drive gear, the input, and which is the driven gear? So look at your design. You can look at these pictures and should be able to easily describe what's the driven gear and what's the drive gear. Remember, the driven gear is the input, the one that starts the motion, and then the output, the driven gear, is the one that's along for the ride. Okay, so answer that. That's a must do. You see there's 3 must answer questions. Then you get to an orange question. We think you should answer this question, but it's up to you how much you want to go into this. You see some other questions now, this one in gear train B. So that's the one where you have a smaller gear. In gear train B, is the speed increased, decreased, or constant? And again, you're going to write that answer as you kind of explore and you kind of mess around with the gear trains that you have built. So you're going to go through these questions and you're going to answer these questions. Then you get to the next one, the gear train with the idler, and you are going to then do the same thing. Once you build this, notice there's not a lot of change here. You just need to add some things, so don't deconstruct the whole gear and make something brand new. A lot of this, we can just add some parts to this. So you see a picture, so go ahead and use this picture and do your best to try to figure out what that's going to look like. Take a picture of what you built over here on the right, answer the questions that go with it. Then we get to the chain drive, the bevel gear assembly, a cam and follower, the worm and wheel, the lead screw. Notice that these are all pink, so this is an aspire to do. If you have time and you get to this, we would love that, but this is not one that you necessarily have to do, but we would encourage that, aspire to do those. The rack and pinion, in a couple pictures to show what that one looks like, and the crank and slider. And then you get to the task summary and the end of task number 4. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to show you some of them that I built, and so when you have it, this would be a good time as you look at these to kind of pause the video and you can kind of explore how they look as well. Okay, this was the gear train, simple gear train B, just to kind of show you what that looked like. Here we have some different ones on this kind of base again. We've got the gear train with the idler. We've got the bevel gear over here. Okay, the bevel gear assembly. And then we have the lead screw right here. Okay, so those are those. And once you build these, again, you're going to take a picture of them and put that into your design notebook. Here we have a chain drive. We've got the worm and wheel right here. Sorry. The worm and wheel right here. And we have the rack and pinion. It's kind of clicking. It's not quite connected right now. Okay, but that's the rack and pinion right there. And then here we have a cam and follower. Okay, the cam and follower right here. See how that works. And then on the back side here we have the crank and slider. All right, so as you are building those, you are going to then take pictures of them and put those in your design notebook, and then just explore them, play around with them, and see, you know, what you can learn about them. All right, reach out to your teachers if you have any questions about building, but again, this is a task. This task 4 is going to take multiple class periods, so make sure you're using your time wisely, but again, make sure that you're focused on getting as many of these built as possible. All right, good luck and happy exploring.